Hi, and a very good day. My name is Muhammad Asmui, and for today's video session, I will discuss about introduction to statistics. Okay, so what you can expect from this presentation? Okay, for this particular topic, we will discuss on the concept of statistic and research process, and also in this topic, we explain on how you can distinguish a different level of measurements, which are nominal, ordinal, interval, and ratio, based on based on the data that we have. Okay, and it is actually important for us to understand this concept early before we proceed to discuss next topics later on. Alright, so this topic will discuss about what is statistic. Okay, the statistical, uh, what are the uses of statistic, types of statistic, and so on. Alright, so for for this video session, I will discuss on why we need to study statistic. Alright, so now data are everywhere. Okay, and based on this data, we want to be able to make the decision that may affect individuals and organization. So this is actually the main reason why we need to study statistics. Okay, no matter what your career, you will involve in decision that have data, and from this particular data, okay, we want information to help us, okay, to make decision effectively. All right, so that's the main reason why we need to study statistics. Okay, so let's take a look at the definition, okay, of statistic. Okay, um, when we're talking about the definition of statistic, in the more common usage, people refer statistic as the numerical information. Okay, how much percentage on certain trait, how much female, how much male who works in particular organization. Okay, and we often present this statistical information in graphical form so that the reader will easily understand or will get the information uh, easily. Okay, so as example, okay, the average starting salary of college graduates. So we do some research. Suppose that we want to know what are our university graduate get when they have their first job. Okay, and based on our research, okay, on average, our graduate managed to get 3,000 ringgit. Okay, so this 3,000 ringgit, what we refer to the numerical information, so that we may use this information uh, maybe okay for university reference and so on, right? Okay, so that's basically the common definition of statistic. But in terms of its formal definition, statistic is the science, okay, the science of collecting, organizing, presenting, analyzing, interpreting, and lastly, based on our interpretation, we will do the decision. Okay, as we can see, it's actually a process. All right, so who use statistic? Okay, these are actually example. Okay, in medicine industry, we want to determine the effectiveness of drug or new vaccine, such as COVID-19 vaccine. Okay, we want to predict diseases, okay, pandemic at a certain area and so on. Okay, that's medicine. Okay, in terms of education, we may predict student CGPA based on their history performance. Okay, or how much student we will get uh, okay graduate on time status. Okay, in terms of business, we can predict sales, forecast sales, okay, consumer preference, and also uh, any financial trends that can help the organization to make decision and others. And there's actually a lot more fields that use statistic. All right. Okay, so in terms of statistic, okay, we actually have two types of statistic, which are descriptive and inferential. The key terms of descriptive is describe, to describe the situation, and the method that we use, uh, we suppose that we have data, we organize the data, we summarize the data, and then we present the data in an informative way. As example, we do graphical presentation, okay, and so on. That's belong to descriptive. While for inferential, okay, it is actually we try to infer. Okay, the word infer itself is actually based on the samples. Okay, suppose that we collect the data. Okay, the data is from samples, and now we try to explain, okay, the characteristic of the population based on our sample. Right, so when we want to do this kind of conclusion, we say that this is belong to inferential statistic. Okay, so let's take a look at the example. Okay, suppose that we we select 350 randomly students from FSKM Shah Alam, and then based on this, based on our information, 180 students have the first name Muhammad. Okay, so how can we distinguish between descriptive and inferential? Okay, so based on this sample, 180 student, we say that 51% of these students have the first name of Muhammad. Okay, so this information is based on the sample. Okay, what are inferential? Okay, now based on our sample, 350 sample, we say that more than 50% of FSKM student is the population here have the first name Muhammad. So we infer the population based on our sample. So that's how you distinguish between descriptive and inferential. Alright. So in terms of where to use, okay, we have a very specific discussion about the statistical method in research. Okay, because before we choose a correct statistical method, okay, we need to understand. Okay, we need to understand the type of our data so that an appropriate method and technique can be implemented. Okay, so this is actually the most crucial part before we arrive at the conclusion, to ensure that the conclusion is correct and statistically precise. All right, so this is what we will discuss, and what are the main course learning that we want you to have after learning this topic. All right, so I think that's all for this presentation. Okay, so you can contact me if you have any question. Thank you for listening. Bye.